Okay, so our first review of the day is going to be for the animated film Transformers 1. So Transformers 1. So back before, we see Optimus Prime, as of today, this is an origin film of
Mhm.
Megatron and Optimus Prime. Before they were the big Titan figures as we know them, before Optimus Prime was saying all that cool shit like roll out and all the, Autobots.
Autobots. Yep, before he gave monologues to Linkin Park.
Yeah, he was just him and Megatron were just two, minor bots just working there, working in the mine,
Mhm.
struggling, you know what I mean, scratching and surviving there. And they come on to kind of a bigger they think they're meant for bigger things, a bigger destiny for themselves there. And that kind of leads them on to a little bit of an adventure there. Adventure about discovering the history of I think their planet is Cybertron or Alicon is what
Yeah,
it's
yeah, there's planet Cybertron, the city they live in is, Iacon.
Iacon there. So it kinda leads them to a little bit of a journey of destiny there, to something kinda greater there to find out their enemies. They also people that tag along, is also, Alita, who's voiced by Scarlett Johansson, and B127 is voiced by Keegan-Michael Key.
Mhm.
And the people who are playing Optimus and, Megatron here are Chris Hemsworth and Brian Tyree Henry, and then I think this isn't this supposed to be the first time that Optimus Prime has not been voiced by Peter Cullen?
Yeah, it's, at least the first feature film where he hasn't been voiced by Peter Cullen, because, there have been other animated shows with the character where he wasn't the voice. I think, back in, like, the 2000s, there was a Cartoon Network series where I think, Jeff Bennett did the voice of Optimus.
Okay,
I might be wrong on that, don't quote me.
okay, I will quote you, and I will put it in there. If you're wrong, then people will come after you and not me.
Alright.
Um, so, I mean, how much, are you into the Transformers lore? I know Dusk, I think he's somewhat of a fan of the
Mhm.
he knows a little bit about it. How much are you a fan of the
I,
Transformers?
I'm kind of a casual fan. Most of my knowledge of the Transformers lore comes from the Michael Bay movies, which, yeah, take that information what you will. And I've watched some of the animated series in the past. I loved the, like, I think it was the 2D animated one from the 2000s. I loved Transformers Beast Wars. I grew up with that, and I really dug that Netflix anime, Transformers War for Cybertron.
Yeah. I like that. I didn't finish that one, but
Mhm.
that was a little bit more of a darker tone with the
Mhm.
Transformers stuff.
Yeah,
Because
it was
that
like, yeah, that was a legit war that we got to see, and that's not a subject that's explored often in a lot of adaptations of Transformers. And something I liked about this movie is that we're finally getting to see Cybertron, because more often than not, adaptations, it's after the war, all the Autobots and Decepticons are refugees hiding out on Earth, and then we have to have obligatory human characters to pad out the runtime.
yeah. Even though I feel like Transformers is a little bit on a run, like, I did like the
Mhm.
last live action Transformers
Oh
movie,
yeah,
I thought that was okay. I didn't think it was
yeah.
as good as
Yeah,
Bumblebee,
yeah,
but
yeah. They're, as far as I'm concerned, they're two for two. I'm shocked how much I liked Rise of the Beasts.
yeah. So that was decent. It wasn't as good as Bumblebee, but it was like, alright, it's definitely better than,
Mhm.
Age of Extinction and Last Night and all that,
Oh,
you know,
it's
so
definitely better than the ones where Michael Bay clearly stopped giving a shit, and also Revenge of the Fallen.
yeah. So here, I think this is a solid kind of Transformers film. The trailer really didn't impress me all that
Mhm.
much. But
That trailer was awful. It
yeah,
like it was very much selling it. This is like the Toy Story version of a Transformers movie, not in terms of subject matter, but more in terms of that, like, lighthearted, really watered down, kid friendly, just a humor and kind of marvelification of a lot of blockbusters.
mm, yeah. And I will say this movie does skew younger.
Mhm,
Very much so, probably for a younger demographic there. I know that Transformers, I mean, it's been around since the 80s.
mhm.
So it does also have a very much older demographic. So again, like I said, I'm not really that big into Transformers myself. I never really caught on that wave of, Transformers for me. So it'd be interesting to see, I guess, if you are an older millennial or person there and there that really grew up with Transformers, how would you feel about this? But this skews a little bit younger, and I don't know if it messes with the lore of Transformers and the history
No,
there.
no. From what I hear, this is kind of canon. It was like
Okay.
at one point in history, Optimus and Megatron were like friends and brothers.
Mm, okay. Interesting. All right. So yeah. So from Nick's point of view, again, I'll quote him on this. It's accurate to the lore. It's lore accurate there. So Nick, what are some of your thoughts there on Transformers One, man?
Like I was not really looking forward to this. I wasn't a really big fan of what I was seeing in the trailers, but having stepped in and watched this movie, yeah, this shit is awesome. It was like who knew the key to making a good Transformers movie was just keeping it animated. And for as much hesitation as I had with the voice cast with Chris Hemsworth and Brian Tyree Henry, especially with a lot of animated movies, they kind of just get big names to put on the posters, but they're giving it their all in these voice vocal performances, especially old Paperboy himself, who gives real weight and dramatic heft to Megatron's character arc in this movie and a full justification and understandable reason why Megatron breaks bad, and even to the point where the eventual falling out between him and Optimus, it's almost heartbreaking.
Mm, yeah. Yeah, and like you mentioned, some of these animated films is like why get such a
Mhm,
star-studded. I get a lot of it is obviously name recognition,
mhm.
attached to the movie, but
Yeah,
you
yeah. This cast read a lot like Chris, excuse me, Chris Pratt in the Mario movie or the Garfield movie.
hey, how's it going there? Hunter from the Real Pineapple Podcast coming in here. The X-Men First Class starring
Transformers.
Transformers there. Very nice. Hey, how's it going there, Hunter? Yeah, so with this one, I think, actually watching it and seeing how it plays out, humor is very kid friendly type of stuff, some good chuckle worthy there stuff for them. I think the action is decent enough. The animation I think works on that level. And with the star-studded cast there, it's like, hey, why not get, professional voice actors? Maybe they can, do a
Mhm.
better job there. But I think, Scarlett Johansson, Chris Hemsworth, and Brian Tyree Henry, Keegan Michael Key, I think they do a good job in their voice roles for what the material is. I think they do good. Um, Keegan Michael Key, I mean, his character, I mean, he's playing B127, who I guess is supposed to be Bumblebee, right? It's supposed to be
Yeah, that's Bumblebee.
yeah. Little maybe a little annoying for my taste, quite a bit
Uh,
there.
he never grated on me to the point where I usually feel about Keegan Michael Key in these kinds of movies.
Okay. So I don't know. I mean, his taste may vary for some people there. You did have that. You also have Lawrence Fishburne who shows up in here,
Mhm.
who is a very recognizable voice. Very good casting also with Steve Buscemi, who comes in as Starscream, who's
Oh
very
yeah.
good casting there. Also, you have the Sentinel Prime, who's voiced by John Hamm, who's the head of Cybertron. He's the big leader that everybody kind of
Mm.
worships and looks up to. He's the one that has all these uh, Autobots kind of working in the mines there and, mining for I think what was the material they were
Yeah,
mining?
mining for Energon.
Energon there. He's a modern day Elon Musk here on Cybertron, the Musk family there. Yeah, they're mining.
In more ways than one.
So he's got them, yeah, just mining there. So there's a simple caste system that you have on Cybertron, the
Mhm.
people that are the miners, and then the other transformers. So the miners, thing that's unique about them is they don't have the cog inside them, so they don't have the actual thing that helps them transform. I don't know, maybe you can help me with this, but like because they transform into different like shapes and things, like actually you see in the trailer they transform into. Think about Optimus as he transforms into a truck,
Mhm.
but
Yeah, but
how
that doesn't happen until he gets the cog in the movie.
but my question was like, because wasn't it that when they only go to Earth, they scan what a truck is, and then that's when he
Mhm.
becomes a truck? Like, why would he become
Well,
a truck on
he's like a Cybertron version of a truck, and like when he
Okay.
goes to Earth, he scans it and he like alters its shape to blend in on Earth. Because
Okay.
even in the opening of Bumblebee, they were still transforming into Cybertron versions of what they would turn into on Earth.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Hunter Friend with Pineapple Podcast. The Bad Asserton line got close for me.
Yeah,
The
the
dramatic,
badass Tron.
the
That
dramatic
that
beats more than make up for it.
yeah, yeah. He got if he got one more of that freaking badass Tron, that would have got me. That would have put me over their edge. But they knowing when to cut that bit off.
Mm. So yeah, like I said, so with him, and Keegan Michael Key, very talented guy, very, very
Mhm.
talented performer. And a lot of things he does there. So, like I just said, I don't know, maybe it'll agree for some
Yeah,
people, maybe not.
yeah.
It
He's,
depends.
he's one half of one of the greatest sketch comedy duos of all time.
Yeah, for definitely sure there. So I mean, I think this was a nice, pleasant surprise there.
Mhm.
I think it's good. I mean, since Inside Out is not playing in theaters anymore, if you needed to take the family to something and take the whole family, your kids, this would probably be the movie that you would show
Mhm.
them that would work, and would be kind of effective. And with a movie like this, also that is a prequel. Sometimes it always comes across as like, okay, how do you make me care and feel that emotional in this
Mhm.
story, given if you know the history of these characters that obviously Optimus and Megatron become mortal enemies with each other there. And in this movie, they're not. He's Orion Pax is the Optimus
Mhm.
Prime's name, and then you also have Brian Terry here, who's D16, who's the Megatron before he becomes Megatron from where we know him to be. And when that turn kind of happens with that character, it is I feel like it's a
Mhm.
little bit of a dramatic shift of how
Mm.
serious he
But
can.
but
Yeah,
considering who they were at the start of the movie, because as D16, he's kind of like the goody two shoes on the planet. He believes in this caste system and what they are doing for the planet. And when that belief is shaken, he is understandably enraged. And now he has power to do something about it.
yeah. And it turns them, and you see that, and you even like you can see it in the also vocal performance, hear it in the
Mhm.
vocal performance of Brian Terry Henry, when he fully shifts into that and makes that turn, which I thought was really good. A performance from Brian Terry Henry's part.
Yeah,
There.
both of them, especially in. I was kind of surprised with Chris Hemsworth as the movie goes on more and more. It shifts closer and closer to not quite a Peter Cullen impression, but pretty damn close.
Yeah. Yeah, when he kinda becomes even with Optimus, he becomes more of a hero in this.
Mhm.
His voice starts a little bit more deep in, it's not as high, it's not as, like, carefree or anything like that, like, he really starts to, kinda, yeah, become a little bit more of an authoritative figure there, which we saw there. Did you think it was a little bit too much also with a little of the references, callbacks, they do the classic lines, like, "You got the touch, but you don't have the power," you know what I mean? They do
uh,
that.
I really didn't notice a lot of those. I didn't notice a lot of the callbacks or the references to other movies.
Mm.
It's like I talked about this with my girlfriend who when we watched Alien Romulus because she hadn't really seen a lot of the movies. She knew about, of course, the xenomorphs, but didn't really have them, committed to memory. Not like you or I do. So a lot of the callbacks and references in that movie kind of just flew over her head, and she watched that movie as is. And that's kind of how I felt about this one.
Mm. Yeah, I noticed that line, the "You got the touch," and then "You got the power" callback. I noticed that one. Of course,
And
you gotta do the
uh,
rollout, you
yeah,
gotta
of
do
course,
that one.
you're gonna get the ones that everybody knows because it doesn't matter who you are. Everybody knows transform and roll out.
That one, that's a big one. There was
Mhm.
the other one they did, I'm trying to remember. There was another callback and reference they did, I'm trying to remember it. But yeah, those were the 2, also big ones there. Um, I forgot, it was the scene where he's talking to D16 that they're, like, in the train or something, I think, or like a plane, and he said something. Yeah, I can't remember it, but yeah, they do. Yeah, they do some references and callbacks there to classic other Transformers properties there. That even me, I probably bet there's also some many more that people probably catch. Even me, who's yeah, like I've seen the movies, I've seen that, and we even did a retro review of the
Mhm.
Transformers the movie, which was the animated film that came out in I think '87. I think it came out in. So we even did that with Orson Welles, who was there. Who provided the voice there. 86 that movie came out, 1986. Who was Unicron. So yeah. Nick, what will be your final thoughts and rating for Transformers 1?
My final thoughts and rating. I'm honestly surprised how much I ended up liking this movie. I think the animation, it does kind of lean more towards kid friendly. They do look more like the toys, but kind of like with another show, another series like this, kind of like Star Wars: The Clone Wars. I feel like that more kid friendly design, it's almost meant to kind of disarm you for when this movie does delve into its much deeper thematic elements, like the themes of class, like the brotherhood turned into enemies relationship between Optimus and Megatron. And on top of the vocal performances, which I think are spectacular, I can't really give this anything but this is, and I said this when I was leaving the theater, this is for me a peak bordering on this is cinema.
Wow.
Just how much I ended up enjoying it purely on from an animation standpoint, getting to feel the Transformers be actual characters instead of just devices for the plot of a movie, like they have been in a lot of the live action films.
Mm, okay. Wow. You're that so would you say it's like one of your top animated movies of the year, better than Inside Out, maybe?
It's kind of hard to say. I'd have to watch both again.
Mm, okay.
And yeah, my girlfriend, she's out of town right now, and I told her when I left the theater, she was like, "Woman, we are going to see this movie."
Oh. Hunter, here comes out with the high streaming. Actually, hey, he kinda got me. That's kinda what I'm gonna give it.
Hater.
Hey, listen, I like it. I think it's a solid movie. I mean, like I said, it does skew pretty young there, and I think, hey, since Inside Out 2 is not in theaters anymore, if you needed good family entertainment, I think this fills that void pretty
Mhm.
good. I think the difference between something like this and then something like Inside Out
Mhm.
2 is just that it doesn't. I feel like it doesn't. It's not really that challenging to kids, and it's not something
Mhm.
I think parents. I mean, parents wouldn't get annoyed
Mhm.
by this, but I don't think it's like something that's like also parents would be. I mean, unless maybe the parents are also big Transformers fans too. Maybe they also will
Mhm.
get into it, but something that's like really great for the parents to also sit down and maybe they get into it too. I think it's mainly for just kind of kids there. So the action's decent. I like some of the humor, some good good gags and chuckle worthy stuff here. That is appropriate for the audience that it's mainly serving there. Again, I'm not a big Transformers guy. If you are a hardcore, Transformer person and you collect all the figures and watched all the properties of it, maybe you'll be a little bit more stricter about it. But it seems like from Nick's point of view, from a lot of the Transformers fans, they are liking this as well, so they're enjoying this. The vocal performances are pretty good here and pretty solid. I like the very good cast. Like I said, I mean, a lot of the names listed here. I mean, it's just great name after great name here of talented performer that works really well. So you do have that going for it. So for me, I'd give it like a lowish tune
Mhm.
in, high streaming type of territory. I'd kind of give it that for me for this one. And I did like the development between Optimus Prime and Megatron.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that is easily the highlight of the movie.
yeah. So that's kind of one of the things with this movie. Yeah. Uh, Hunter from God, I fucking knew it. Can't give the deliverance a waste of.